From frigid sub-zero temperatures to grueling 7-hour games, Netflix's show Squid Game is making headlines for all the wrong reasons. But what's really causing all the buzz? First up, let's dive into the reports of serious injuries on the show, which, according to Netflix, are next to none. But is that even true? Nope, not even close. According to tearful participant reports, medics were called 11 times during the red light, green light round that kicked off the show. Now, you must be thinking that a reality show based on one of the darkest and bloodiest Netflix shows of all time was obviously gonna be tough. Participants probably would have been prepared for the ordeal, right? Guess what? They were. But for a normal version of the game, the round was supposed to last 2 hours, after which they'd all have lunch and call it a day. Instead, what they actually faced was a lot like the real Squid Game. Wait, should I call it the fictional one? Whatever it is though, what actually happened during the round was highly unethical. Not only were the participants made to take off their coats and hand and foot warmers before the game began, but they also had to play it for 7 hours straight on a freezing UK winter's day, with 10, 15, and even 30-minute waits between the red light, green light doll song. Yeah, you heard that right, 30 minutes. As a result of the cold, several people went into shock. One player even hurt their shoulder after running into a wall. Despite that, all 456 players were required to play the game without pausing. That's crueler than what Sang-woo did to Ali. But that's not all. The players weren't allowed bathroom breaks either. Is that even human? Actually, a better question would be, is that even legal? Like, I know the show's entire premise is focused on societal greed, but that was supposed to stay limited to the show, not become meta and bleed into real life too. But that's what happened. Reports about the injuries and the way they were treated are shocking to say the least. According to the participants, they experienced dizziness and banging headaches while playing the game. Plus, they weren't even given any relaxation, water, or bathroom breaks. But when the waiting period between the songs became longer, people started dropping like flies. One of the participants even said that she saw a girl sway, buckle, and hit the ground. Even though the crew did not pause the game and actually asked everyone not to move so the camera could capture all the action. Oh, and what about those people who were falling, screaming, and even convulsing on the ground? They weren't treated right either. According to reports, doctors took a long time to reach them, all because the producers didn't want to ruin the camera shots. So, as a solution, they sent out masked people wearing pink jumpsuits holding black coffins to hide the people attending to the injured players. This was while all the rest of the contestants were frozen in place. What? This is it, guys. This is where you finally witness me being rendered speechless. And as if all that wasn't enough, the show is also allegedly rigged, especially in favor of Instagram and TikTok influencers, who were fully mic'd up with the rules being bent in their favor, while all other regular participants were given dummy microphones. Because of this, people are describing their experience as like being on a TV show where the influencers were the main cast and the rest were all extras. Oops, and I know I shouldn't laugh, but people are also calling the show Rig Game. Personally, I'd like to call it Fire Festival 2.0, but Rig Game works for me too. Oh, and that's not the end of it. The game's $4.5 million cash prize is another reason why there was so much pressure on the players to do whatever they could to win. Apparently, the producers wanted the participants to do anything it took to reach the end, resulting in all those injuries and potential lawsuits from former participants. And I don't blame them. These guys are probably more scarred by the trauma of the day than Ji-hoon was after the game. And because of that, former contestants are thinking of taking legal action against the production studios, which they believe took on more than they could chew. When they realized the crowd was too large for them to handle, they went ahead with the game, which resulted in workplace violations, false pretenses, and negligence. Which is just about right. But in all this, have you thought about what Netflix's response has been? So, remember when I said the injuries were minimal? That's the hill they're willing to die on. According to the streamer, only 3 players were injured during the game, and they received medical attention straight away. Netflix has even put out a statement along with Studio Lambert and The Garden, who are the co-producers of the show, saying that they care deeply about the health and safety of their cast and crew, and had taken all appropriate safety procedures. But isn't it frustrating that these guys aren't even acknowledging their mistakes? Sure, they did mention in their statement that it was freezing on set, but they're also saying that any claims of serious injury are untrue. Now that's just wrong, especially considering that the players not only endured all that, but were also starved during and after the game. According to contestants, they had given lunch orders prior to the rounds beginning, but because it lasted so long, they returned home between the hours of 7 p.m. and midnight without stopping on the way for lunch, or actually at this point, dinner. When they reached the hotel, production had ordered pizza, but there wasn't enough to go around. I'm sorry, but are we still talking about real life? All this sounds like a bad retelling of a Squid Game copycat show. Anyway, because there wasn't enough food, most of the contestants went to bed starving. They woke up to a cold McDonald's hamburger and a side salad waiting for them outside their doors that had been sitting there for God knows how long. Could it get any worse? Yes, it can. Especially since the show is still scheduled to air in its entirety in February. I guess that's when we'll find out if the game is rigged or not. But hey, who are we kidding? We're not hearing any influencer chatter about being hurt and traumatized by the game, are we? Not that it's their fault, but you get my point, right? So, do you want to bet on which of them is going to win the competition? Honestly, guys, this is by far the worst example of life imitating art that I've ever seen in my life. So you can count me out of watching this horrible show. Which, by the way, is the worst parody of The Real Thing, where Wang Dong Yak has commented on the very greed that's brought this crazy reality to life. I just hope it doesn't stop him from creating an epic second season. I also hope he goes meta and adds an instance from this show to the series as well. I can't believe I'm saying this, but these guys have gone ahead and made the most gruesome show about human nature. It seems pale in comparison. How human of us, though, is it not? So, are you going to be watching this show? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video.